Good day and welcome to the Automotive Society Podcast. My name is Siraj and today I'm joined by Mitch.
Hello everyone, how you doing?
Mitchy Poo.
Mitchy Poo.
How's it going, Mitch?
It's going really good.
It's been a while since you've been on the podcast.
It has been.
Yeah.
It's been quite a few episodes since I've been on.
What you been up to?
Well, what have we been up to? It's the real question.
Yeah.
A lot of exciting stuff in the last few weeks. A lot of scary stuff too.
Yeah.
Especially on the track.
Yeah.
Which I'm sure we'll get to in a little bit. Everything seems to be revolving around the Civic at the moment. The little EG that we have.
Yeah, I think they'll probably get sick of me talking about the Civic.
Oh, really? You've been talking about it a lot?
Yeah, I think the last two episodes will be a lot, not detail, but a lot that we're doing the Civic and it's happening.
Well, maybe we just tell them about our experience at Eastern Creek then. Just keep it short and sharp and just tell them what it's like. Yeah,
so it's an EG Civic, EG4, I believe. And it is...
wind windows, nothing electric.
Very basic.
Very basic.
Does have aircon.
Does have aircon. Yeah.
And it's white. It's nothing special. I mean, you've seen the photo if you have seen our Instagram. And
there's a lot of it on the Instagram, isn't there?
Well, yeah, our Instagram.
Now there is.
Yeah. Even the podcast Instagram, there's a bit of it on there. What else? What I don't remember what we've told them and what we haven't told them.
I'll just sum it up really quick then. So it started as a Civic that I bought off Siraj a little while ago. It's now become our track Civic, completely gutted, only has one seat, has a race harness, completely no interior whatsoever, and that includes sound deadening. So I'd say would be at least 25 kilos in all the stuff that we stripped out. Sound deadening, the insulation in the firewall, and all the door cards, everything like that. The interior is probably about 50 to 60 kilos.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't be surprised if it's 100 kilos lighter than what you would get one stock.
Yeah.
Has a Sparco race seat, has an OMP harness, and has some aftermarket wheels and tyres now. But that's pretty much it. That's everything that's about the car.
Hankook RS4s, 195 15-inch. Other than that, it's just a great little nugget.
Yeah.
And we went the full route of dry ice to take the interior out or the sound deadening out, and it worked a treat.
It worked so well.
Yeah.
And you see a lot of that stuff on Instagram. People say, do this, and 2 minutes later you're like, I've just ruined my car.
Yeah.
This doesn't work.
Yeah.
Dry ice, you just put it on the sound deadening, and then say 15 minutes later, everything was crackling and snapping.
Yeah.
Which is cool because it actually sounds exactly like it does in all the videos that you watch.
Yeah. It was super satisfying.
Yeah. Like milk into rice bubbles sort of thing. You just wait till it stops crackling, and then you know it's ready, and then you just break a little bit off, and the whole thing just breaks open.
And you can feel it. If you can't feel it go up a little bit, then you just wait for it to crackle more, throw more dry ice on it, wait a little longer, and it was super, super easy.
Yeah, and for anyone else doing it, we got 10 kilos of the packaged dry ice, so little peanut form. So not liquid nitrogen. You can do liquid nitrogen, but I think you actually need some sort of license to be using liquid nitrogen.
I also don't want to.
Yeah.
Because you can't, with our packaged dry ice, we could actually just pick it up and move it when we wanted to.
With gloves and stuff, so.
Yeah, we were wearing gloves, so it was easy to just pick it up and move it wherever we needed it. Whereas, obviously, liquid nitrogen, you can't.
Yeah.
You can't do that. Once it's there, it's there. And this way, we could also keep our chassis from... away from
exposed to it. So
away from dry ice as much as possible. That was the easiest way to go about it.
And the other handy thing was it was painted under the sound deadening, which we
awesome.
thought it might not have been, but it was, which is saves us a lot of trouble.
I have seen a few cars that are not, but I think maybe they were aftermarket painted.
Yeah.
So they had a lot of sound deadening after. Paint was done after sound deadening. But ours was pretty mint. I love it. It's a great car.
Yeah.
But you've got another Civic now.
Yeah. So I
EK.
bought my first one from you, and then I just kind of fell in love with the platform.
Yeah.
And I just didn't want to keep driving my STR on the street. Stone chips, parking next to other cars, getting damage, people keying the cars. Just a lot of stuff's happened to the car, and just frustrated me as a daily having those issues when it's such a lovely car. Bought a silver EK, which has been really, really good.
Yep.
And now it's actually being thrashed by one of our friends, Max. So we went out to a car meet, Auto Exotic Car Club or Exotic Auto Club or something like that. And I've lent the EK to Max for the last, I think, almost 2 weeks now. because his Audi and his bike have both gone to the shop, one for gearbox, one for alternator. And yeah, we were just driving to dinner after the car meet, and he's like, I don't know, he just tried to egg me on and race, and he's, spinning the wheels up in an EK Civic with like 60 kilowatts or whatever it might be.
D16.
Yeah. And yeah, it was pretty funny to watch. But I've never heard the tires squeal on my EK before, but he did it in first gear launching and a little bit on second on the gear change. Yeah, a little bit interesting to hear. No, I've never driven it like that because I just wanted to get from A to B, and that was it.
It was quite funny watching a little Civic get absolutely hammered next to us.
Yeah, well, he beat me, he chopped me, so...
Yeah, well, I mean, you weren't racing him, but yeah.
Well.
but yeah, like, it's just so much car stuff happening, but at the same time, I think you and I really, really heavily focus on track. Majority of our work has been just to do with track.
Yep.
Our next mods that are coming up are suspension because... As you said, we had a sketchy moment at Eastern Creek. So we went to Sydney Motorsport Park, which is a really fast track.
Yeah, very high speed,
Yeah, and we had a lot of high horsepower cars there, actually. I don't think we had any car that was even close to ours. Yeah. There was another EG Civic, but it was fully built, I'm pretty sure. It was doing much faster.
And a baby seat in the back seat as well.
Yeah. And he was an intermediate.
Yeah. So he was going pretty quick. We're in beginner just because of the power levels, and we were getting up to 160, I think it was, on the straight, 158. Something like that. And that was foot flat the whole way, top of fifth gear as close as we could get before we hit turn one.
Did you even get to fifth gear?
Oh, yeah, I was in fourth, yeah.
I was in fourth.
I was in fifth.
Oh, I was in fourth. I was topping out in fourth.
Yeah, because I was coming off the last turn onto the straight. I was at the top of second, revving its tits off, and then into third. So maybe I was just carrying a tiny bit more speed through that.
Yeah, maybe,
I don't know.
Yeah, I was just too... scared of how
it was handling,
how squirrely the car was. So it's 30 years old. I don't think the bushings have ever been changed. The rear bushings were
absent.
Yeah, literally absent. Like they were missing.
So the trailing arm bushing, like around where the little piece of metal is that sticks through, just like not there.
Yeah, it was
completely gone.
It was perished. So sketchy. I mean, obviously, in the perfect scenario, we would have done all the bushings and the suspension before we took it to this track, but we kind of also want to get a baseline of what the car is like stock and actually make sense of why we're doing the mods.
Yeah.
So our first track day was completely stock, full interior, full everything. It's a D15 carbureted, so it's not even the EFI version.
Yeah.
We took it to the track. We actually had quite a lot of fun. Did quite good.
Lotto, it's interesting, right? So we've taken all the interior out and we think we've actually made the car a little less drivable because of that, because it's now so light, especially in the rear.
Yeah.
Because there's no spare tyre, there's nothing else.
Yeah, like we tracked it with the spare tyre and everything.
And on less grippy tyres as well, like street tyres. But when we were at Lotto, it just felt a little bit more composed, a little bit more planted.
Yeah.
Although it was still
predictable.
A bit... Yeah. Unpredictably predictable, if that makes sense. It's like we knew the car was going to handle like crap, but it wasn't that bad.
Yeah. It was manageable crap.
Manageable, yeah. And Lotto was actually really good. We really enjoyed ourselves. We got a lap time that we thought was pretty decent for that kind of setup with two people in the car, full interior, stock D15. It was like a 103.
103.6 is what we got.
And we were really happy with that.
Yeah.
And on the day, we were the slowest on the day, but
100%.
It was well worth it, and it was a great baseline. And then, as you were saying, we went to Eastern Creek, a high-speed circuit, no interior, probably approximately 100 kilos lighter than what it was before, with no passenger. Yeah. So,
I think the main part was the fact that the boot was so light that you can see it in the photos, even in corners, let alone braking. Just in a corner, you can see the rear suspension's got no load on it. It's completely high up in the air.
Yeah. Looks like a monster truck.
Yeah, it's almost like if I slam the brakes on a main straight, it will do a wheelie.
High. Yeah.
Yeah, like it will lift up both the rear wheels and just fly. So in that way, I think what we need is a big wing at the back, at least for Eastern Creek, I would say.
Yeah.
And Wakefield, I would say as well.
Yeah.
That's also...
like King can turn one for
sure.
that's
quite a high speed track as well. I mean, it wouldn't hurt at London, of course. I think we still will reach the speed. Eventually, we'll reach the speed where it's actually useful.
Yeah.
So I think a wing, maybe some weight, like actual ballast in the back.
Yeah, and like positioned accordingly, just over the suspension, right, where it's going to act, not like, up the front, in the middle, whatever, just right where it's going to be most effective.
We'll put suspension in, get a wheel alignment, and see how we go from that. And hopefully that will be enough to at least take out the sketchiness. Because at the moment, it's front-wheel drive, but it oversteers so much.
Yeah.
Yeah, like you can go into a corner and it will just try to oversteer. Every time I turned a corner, I could feel the rear end
wanting to go.
Yeah. And the only way to keep it in line was to just floor it.
Yeah.
If I let go or touch the brake, any of that,
then it gripped more at the front and threw the rear out more, which was really fun to watch.
Yeah, as a scared person, I was like, oh, I want to brake a little bit more, at least on my warm up laps.
Yeah.
But nah, I got punished for it straight away. So I spun out on the track day 3 times.
One was a really awesome 360 that we saw. It was really, really cool. He's coming into a corner. I can't remember what number it is because I can't remember at Eastern Creek how many corners there are, but he came through. It was a right-hand turn, and he just does it was like a 720.
Yeah.
It was awesome.
In a Civic.
Yeah, in a Civic.
In a little Civic. So it's not like I'm driving some drift car or anything. No, a little hatchback. And it was just a little bit too squirrely for me to be comfortable. My other 2 cars are rear-wheel drive and all-wheel drive. And even the all-wheel drive car I have is rear bias.
Yeah.
So it's a huge, huge step away from that. Like just
rear
having
bias with oversteer is manageable, but front-wheel drive with oversteer like a ute is just what do you do every corner when it does that?
I can't power it out or anything, right? Like, well, you're meant to, but it's just so hard.
Yeah, and it doesn't have a lot of power. So you say power it out, but if it only has 50 kilowatts and you're in 4th when you start spinning,
the problem.
What do you do?
Yeah, that was the problem. Like, I would lose the rear end, but I was already pinning it. Like, what else am I meant to do?
Yeah, change mid corner and then you already spun, so it doesn't make any difference.
Yeah, so it was a bit too sketchy for me. But then on the 4th session, when I finally got a little bit comfortable, by a little bit comfortable, I mean I was doing like probably 5 seconds faster laps than I was previously doing. So I was nowhere near Mitch's pace. Like you did a 212. I think I was doing a 221 or 222. So nowhere near your pace. Still, I was still trying to get grips with the car. That
was a consequence of that spin out and the way that the car was handling throughout the whole night.
Yeah.
It was just a really sketchy and frightening car to drive. So it makes sense. And then Siraj started getting more comfortable with it when there was a bit more heat into the tyres. But then you can tell them what happened when you started getting a bit quicker.
Literally I still spun out, but I fixed that and then did a lap. And then coming by on the next lap, I literally just went past the pit entry and I was flooring it, obviously. I was like, this is going to be my hot lap. I'm going to go for it. Just as I'm about to reach the grid line, like the finish line, start line, it was just warning lights. So I had battery warning light just come up. And I was like, oh no, I've got no alternator.
Did you hear a pop at all?
No. I heard nothing.
That's weird.
Yeah. And I was like, oh, the alternator's not working. This is bad. And this is a really long track.
Yeah.
I think it's like 6 kilometers or something.
Yeah. The full GP circuit is massive.
Yeah, it's huge. Wait, not 6Ks.
4.3 or something like that?
I don't know how much it is. I will double check. But
it's a long track for no alternator.
It was a long track.
Regardless.
Yeah, it's like we're doing 2.5 minutes.
Yeah.
Like I was doing 2.5 minute laps going decently fast, like warm up laps.
Yeah.
And oh my God, I was like, oh no, I have no alternator. It's running on purely battery. Thank God we have a new battery, but I was like, I don't know how long this will last. So I just put my revs down, turned the lights off, and I was just putting it around the track. I was getting overtaken by GT3 RSs, M2s.
In beginner group, it makes no sense.
Yeah, M2s, 86s, like really fast Mustangs and all of those in my little tiny Civic, and I was in 5th gear, and I was like, oh, I'm just going to putt around. I don't want the battery. I just did not want to die on the track. I was like, I don't want to be towed off. Just want to make it to the pit entry. So I did a whole nother lap. I think it took me 3 minutes. 3 minutes 10 or something, the whole nother lap.
And the thing was, we were watching him drive around and we're like, it doesn't look like he's pushing it. Like he was coming in so hot on that start of that lap, and it's taken him 2 minutes to get to where he was at like a minute 30 before. This is crazy. And then we saw you not indicate, but we saw you pull into the pits and we're like, something must definitely be wrong. I was really hoping it wasn't something serious or whatever. And fortunately, it wasn't too bad.
No, like we were like, oh no, alternator gone. Damn it. And then I just looked under the hood and it was just no V-belt there. So, like, obviously the rib belt, I don't know, we shot it out somewhere on the track.
Yeah. And it blew out the wheel well too.
Yeah, it blew out the wheel guards and everything, which I will take off now. I think we don't need them anyway. We were never planning to run them.
Yeah.
So we may as well remove them.
Yeah.
And I think we noticed a tiny bit of oil dripping as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
By the end of it. So.
And, you know, that's, I think it was probably dripping a little bit at Ludlow as well, but.
Was it? I don't think it was that bad. Like I couldn't actually see anything on the ground at Ludlow.
It's weird though, because we checked the engine oil level.
And it didn't leak. And it didn't leak at my workshop either.
Yeah.
So it didn't leak before.
And it doesn't have a under tray, does it?
No.
Which is weird, yeah. So.
And it didn't leak on the trailer on the way there.
Yeah.
The trailer was empty, like it was fine. It only leaked in the garage after a lap.
Yep.
And then we were like, oh no.
And then the funny thing was, just at that time when we realized it was leaking, the session was called in because of oil all over the track, and we're like, oh shit, like it's going to be us for sure. Yeah, it's 100% the Civic, it's blown something, it's leaking everywhere. But they towed a Mini away, which I think was the one that had blown up. Yeah. And fortunately, we actually did 3 more sessions after that session anyway. So it wasn't our car, although it was leaking a little bit. It wasn't the
so I think
responsible.
If we find time, we'll do an oil change on Monday or Tuesday next week. Yeah. And we have another track day on Wednesday, so that's Well, by the time this episode comes out, we will be at the track day. I think,
another one at
2 days to go. This will probably come out on Monday, and on Wednesday we have a track day. Everything's super tight at the moment. I was like, we still need to get some bushings. We still need to move some tools over. And obviously, it's hard to find schedule and find time. So I'm 9 to 5, and then exactly. So I was still doing all his uni stuff. So we do most afternoons that we can at his shop. But it's very hard to coordinate the times. Then the weekends, Siraj works, and I don't anymore. So it's like the one time I get my weekends free, now I can't actually go and do the stuff. So it's definitely a lot harder to coordinate. But I mean, it's not the end of the world. We still have 4 days And I think we'll be ready. 4 days before we actually take it to Heisman steering for the wheel alignment. So I think that's more the crunch date. The track day itself, if we just had to get the suspension in for the track day, would be easy. Yeah. But we have booked in a wheel alignment on Friday at Heisman. So and today is Monday. Monday, yeah. But the next time we work on the car is Thursday. Yeah. So it's a lot of stuff to put in, but doable, I think. Yeah, I think so too. I think we have almost everything except for those 2 bushings. Yeah, correct. Which I'm gonna order and pick up probably on Wednesday. Yeah, okay. So I know they have them in stock. I just gotta place the order and get them. Awesome stuff. But on the track with the EG, there's one photo of it with a lot of smoke coming out the back, and a lot of people thought on the track that it was coming out the exhaust and it was the car that was doing it. But the body, the suspension, and everything about the car is so soft. When you're going around corners, the back right and the back left just scrub, and it actually took a groove out of a brand new tire. Yeah. Probably like, I'd say 2 mils? Yeah, 2 million and probably like 5 or 6 mil down. Yeah. Just took this massive like groove out of the tire that we didn't realize until my second session when they took photos and stuff, and there's these plumes of smoke just appearing behind the car, but after every corner. But it was so unsettling because you notice when you're driving the car, you sort of want to, I don't care if the car has a lot of sway when you drive it, that's fine. You can sort of manage that. But when the car is actually bouncing off the wheel while it's rubbing, it completely unsettles you. And so, like, the first session I went out, I did 2 minutes 24, and I was like, that is not what I was expecting. I knew there was more time in it, but I didn't think it was going to be 24 seconds away from the 2 minute barrier. And then the session after that, I went out and did a 2:12, and I felt there was at least another 6 or 7 seconds in that again. But just going around the track, you're driving and you're going into turn 1, the car's going, and it just, like, you're going 160 and you're flat and you're turning in because you've got all the grip in the world because the car's on RS4s and it weighs nothing. And then it just starts like bouncing you around the track, and it's just so unsettling. So there's a few corners in there where, one, the scrubbing is definitely slowing down the car because it's digging so far into the tire, but 2, it's just unsettling every single corner. Yeah. And so if we just had, OEM shocks and springs put back in, just newer ones, so they're a little bit stiffer, I reckon, it would be a really low
2-minute lap, like a 205, 204, something like that for sure, which I think is a better estimate for what a stock EG could do around there if it was in a little bit better condition, I guess.
100%. Well, I do believe that after the suspension, I'm hoping big things for Luddenham. Like, I want to set a time.
Definitely under a minute.
That we want to beat, for sure.
Yeah.
Under a minute.
Yeah. We're a 103 with a stock car with no suspension and all the weight in it.
Yeah, but remember, we only have like 60 horse or something.
Yeah, but I feel like Luddo's a corner speed track, you know what I mean? I feel like it would be
good. Like, so, well, recently a YouTuber did a video at Luddenham and they got a 101 with a factory Suzuki Swift Sport.
Yeah.
That's also manual. It's small. It makes a little bit more power than us. But suspension-wise, I think it would be much worse than what we're about to put in. We're changing everything. We'll be changing upper
and lower control arms, coilovers.
And with like camber adjustment.
Camber adjustment for everything. And also brand new bushings all the way around.
Bushings,
so it'll just be...
tie rod ends. Brand new bushings?
Well, as in all the arms come with new hardened bushings.
Yes.
So we're replacing the arms with the stock bushing. Yeah. The only arm we're not replacing is the trailing arm one.
I'm kind of excited for the tie rod ends. Because we do have a little bit of play in the steering.
Yeah.
I don't think the tie rod ends is the sole reason. I think there's actual play in the rack, but that's fine. At least it'll be a little bit better.
Yeah.
It can't be worse. So
it certainly can't be worse.
So
goodness me.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I said, I'm very, very excited about Luddo because we've been to the track, we enjoyed it, we know what the car can do there, we know how it feels.
Yeah.
Now we're going to have a car with a brand new suspension setup, hopefully aligned properly for that. Well, not necessarily for that track, but just aligned properly where we have a bit more camber. We can use the tyre a bit more because we were rolling onto the outside of this stock tyre so much. The car was pitching at 10 degrees or something like that. Ridiculous. It was literally leaning to the side.
Yeah.
So we need a little bit more camber and a little bit more stiffness to dial that in. But I think as well maybe some sway bars at the rear, maybe a strut brace or something. But thing is, I don't know if it needs to be any stiffer at the rear.
I don't think it needs to be stiffer at the rear. Oh, I think
At the moment,
let's just see how we go. Because I think just a stiffer coilovers, firstly, the brand new coilovers.
Make a big difference.
So they'll take a while to wear in as well. I think it'll be stiff enough, plenty stiff. And a little bit of independence is probably a good thing. Like, I would rather a little bit of sway.
Yeah.
I don't even remember if it has a front sway bar. I don't think it does.
Yeah. I haven't even checked that.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure if our car actually has a front sway bar or not.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm keen to see how it goes with the suspension. It is definitely a time crunch to get all that in. And yeah.
Fortunately for EGs, most parts are very easily accessible and cheap, and also not too hard to install. Like they usually bolt in pretty easy. Like if you buy like my WX, some of the parts you buy for that, they're not an easy fit.
Yeah, I mean, same as the Evo, every single thing that I've bought and that's bolt in has not bolted in. It has needed actual fabrication or new mounts made. Which is a bit annoying.
The sump that we did on the STI, it's a replacement OEM sump that's a little bit larger, and it was so difficult to fit in. We were taking exhaust manifolds off, we were taking the sump out, we were taking off coolant lines and stuff like that to give us more accessibility. Some people have done it on the floor of their garage in jack stands, but it is definitely a more difficult install. Like, it's not for one person. You need a couple people at least. And even just getting the sealant on top of the sump before you put it in, it's just, you don't want to hit it on anything or smear it or whatever. And it's a very difficult install. And most people say it's an engine out sort of thing. Like, if your engine's out, that's the best time to do your sump, when it's exposed.
Yeah, of course.
But if you're doing it in the car, you're taking off transmission mounts, engine mounts, lifting it up. It's just, tricky. But you do it on a EG and it's just easy. Yeah. You can see everything. It's so good. But
I guess boxes are a little bit annoying in some aspects and really easy in other aspects.
Yeah.
Like, everything else that's not to do with engine, head, or any of that is really easy.
Yeah.
And then everything else is super difficult.
Everything else is a little bit more difficult for sure.
Yeah. But enough of track nerd talk.
Yeah.
We have exciting plans?
Yeah, so Siraj and I have booked a Japan trip.
Yeah, we're going to Japan.
And we're also nerds in another way. It's not just truck stuff and car stuff, but we love the Japanese culture and the anime in particular. And I've never been to Japan, but I've desperately wanted to go for such a long time.
Yeah, like I think I've put it off for 3 years now, at least.
Yeah, I'd have to say since I was about 11.
Yeah, like I had tickets.
A long time.
I had tickets booked for April 2020, and then COVID happened, so obviously we lost out, and that was that. And even though I would prefer to go in April because of cherry blossoms and everything, it's okay. Like it's
Summer will still be really nice anyway.
Japan trip, and I'm super happy. Like we're going in the middle of in the start of their summer, which is possibly. July, hopefully going to be a little bit cooler than their peak summer.
Yeah.
Because their peak summer is quite humid and quite hot.
Don't want to be sweating too much over there.
Yeah.
Still want to enjoy it.
I feel like we will anyway, but cherry blossoms just doesn't work out because of uni timetables and everything. It's just so hard. And not to mention people book it so far like in advance.
Yeah.
And even hotels and everything's so much more expensive. So maybe not for our first trip, but definitely eventually.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm super excited to go to Japan. We have a full 2-week itinerary.
Yeah, that myself and my girlfriend totally hijacked.
Yeah.
So we weren't necessarily planning on going to Japan, and then I found out that Siraj was going to Japan, and then kind of like a little bit of banter to him from, we'll come with you, whatever, and now we're all going together. So I feel like he wanted to go to a lot of places, and I didn't really know where to go. And so I was like, I'm happy to go wherever you guys want to go. You book, you choose. We'll just like attend with you because I just want to go and experience it. So I was hoping not to like hijack his plans and take him off it. But we did alter the trip a little bit. So originally we were going from north to sort of southwest, I guess. But we were going sort of stops along the way. Now we're actually going from Tokyo all the way to Hiroshima.
Yeah.
And then working our way back up.
Which I think is a little bit smarter anyway.
But we still changed it, and I feel kind of like...
No, that's fine. Like I'm so excited to do it with people. Like I think, especially, I think Mitch and I have always, like we barely hang out socially. Every time we do hang out, it's always we're working on something, right? Like we're either working on cars, we were working on society stuff. Like
Uni,
even that,
whatever it might be.
Yeah, even that event we went to the other night was mainly for the society.
Yeah.
Now we're like hanging out to do a recording together. It's just like we never hang out socially, and I'm super excited to take a break. I think both of us need a break, and this is perfect. Like, and it's also perfect in the way that like it's a good excuse for us to splurge and just like chill out
because we've been working hard for so many years now.
Yeah,
and I've been working pretty much flat out this last year at a new job full time.
Like you didn't even take a break from your thesis to your job. Like you were doing your thesis
or degree to degree
at your job. Yeah.
So yeah, I've just been flat out for about 9 years straight since I left school now.
Yeah, exactly. Same. And I think my last international holiday was 2018, July 2018, July 2018. And it was going for a wedding.
Yeah.
So I went for a 2-week period, and it was for a wedding. So it wasn't like I didn't go for just a holiday. Yeah. I went for a family event and did all that. And then the international trip I went on before that, I can't even remember. So I think,
and do you find this is the same with you, that a lot of the holidays you've been on prior have been with family as well?
Yeah. I think this is my
That's
first
me the
one.
whole time.
But like normally, even like the 2018 London trip wasn't with family, but it was when we got there, we met up with family. And then we had the second half was completely with family. So yes, it was like eventually it became a family trip.
Yeah.
Whereas this is just us.
Yeah, we decide where we want to go. We decide the timing. We don't wake up at 8 o'clock to
I don't
do
have to
beach
chauffeur
runs with
anyone
Dad and
around.
stuff like that, you know. Although I do like that sort of stuff. Every trip so far that I've ever done has been pretty much with family, or it's been guided. So I did like an immersion tour after I finished school, which was to Vietnam, but that was through school. Yeah. So they chose where you went, they chose the places that you ate at, they chose what activities you did. And it was great for the experience, but I've never actually been able to go overseas and just, I want to go this way today, or I want to go that way. It's like,
like I'm super excited. And out of all the places, Japan is the perfect place
to do that sort of stuff. Yeah, absolutely.
Like, I would hate to go to Japan with family because I want to do so much. Like, I have packed it in so much. Like,
Yeah.
I'm going to make everyone do so much cardio because I'm like, I've booked out my days. I normally not the fan of traveling this way. I'm not usually a fan of like, wake up at this time, go to this place, go to this place, go to this place, go to sleep kind of thing.
Otherwise, how do we get anything done if we don't do that?
But like, you know, like if you go to Bali, for example, it's just a chill holiday. Like you go to the beach.
Certain destinations you go to chill. Like you go to Fiji to chill because, you know, the island is not enormous. And if you go, you know, it's, you know, there might be a few local tribes or something Hawaii like that. But
I think, but like Japan just has so much to offer and so much that I have an interest in, like an active interest that I want to pursue that we're just going to be busy. I think 2 weeks is definitely not enough. I definitely will go again. Like we will definitely go. I think I still want to go to Ebisu. Mm-hmm. I still want to go to Tsukuba, like the actual tracks in Japan.
Yeah.
And I want to experience Hokkaido. Mm-hmm. So there's a lot more to do. This is just mainly we stick to the Tokyo, to Hiroshima and everything in between.
Yeah, Osaka and Kyoto, all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, Osaka, Kyoto, Nara, Kobe, Nagoya, you know, like, yeah, so, and lots of car stuff to do there as well. But
also culture. Yeah. Like, I'm just a big fan, very fond of Japanese culture. So, although we'll probably go to an up garage and buy parts and things like that, I just want to immerse myself in their culture and just see where all this stuff that I love originates from, and just the you know the feeling and the emotion behind it.
I'm
almost,
so excited. I guess like obviously we've been consuming so much Japan content that
I've got to catch up on before I get there. Otherwise, it's going to be spoilers everywhere.
That I just want to live it. Like I feel like I've been consuming it so much on social media.
It's interesting. If someone said to me, "You have a job over in Japan that's similar to what you do, would you take it?"
Probably would.
Even like, having not been there or moved there, I just feel like
I would definitely toy with that idea many times. But like the thing would be for me at least is I have a dog, so I'd have to take the dog there, and then you can't bring the dog back because Australia is really strict with animal laws about bringing animals into the country. Even if it's
just popped into my mind then a weird story about Johnny Depp trying to bring his dog here.
There
was a story a while ago about that, and they just didn't let it or something.
Yes, like stupid. Australia's just super strict when it comes to animal laws, which is fair enough. We have such a unique flora and fauna that I totally understand why they don't want to ruin it, and that's totally understandable. But that means that if I do go over there with my dog, I would have to stay there
until
and that's a big commitment. So I would like to try it out first. Go on I would say at least 4 trips before I commit to living there for a certain amount of time. Yeah, you know?
I think that's reasonable as well.
Yeah, I think so.
Get to know the places, what you enjoy, like where you enjoy. Like if you like the Tokyo lifestyle or the Osaka or Kyoto, like which one you actually prefer. Yeah.
Or if I do continue my business with like Japanese cars here or Japanese automotive, like I'd like to go there every 3 months, a year, and then I don't have to live there, and I'd be just as satisfied just going there every 3 months or something, or 4 months, and buying parts or shipping a container over or something like that, which a lot of people do here, and it's very, very profitable and does work out. I don't know if I want to go down that path, but that's just like
the demand for. It's weird. The demand for EGs, EKs, any sort of Honda at the moment is kind of crazy.
Yeah, it is.
Just because they seem to be one of the sort of cheaper options that you can still modify and make fast, and people just want to build them. They want to race them. Yeah. Well, you can't buy Silvias cheap anymore. You can't buy Skylines that cheap anymore.
No, not really.
Even MX-5s now, you can't buy them cheap anymore.
No.
So what's the Honda's
option? Left like as one of the cheapest options, definitely out there, and that's what it used to be like. Although prices were a lot lower back in the day, but that's what it always used to be like. Hondas were always the cheapest option because, one, they were mass-produced way more than everything else. Like, you can buy a stock base model grandma Civic and love it and enjoy it, right?
Yeah.
There's no such thing as a base model Skyline.
Yeah.
Like, everyone you're buying a Skyline off bought it because it was their fun car.
Yeah.
Yeah, like even if they...
Not many family daily driven GTRs.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. So I'm sure there's a few out there, but not as many as there's Civics, of course. Preludes, Integras were a little bit more sporty, but same thing. I think it's also their price point new.
Yeah.
They were always like either the first car or like an early car for young adults.
Yeah.
You know, people who don't have families, basically.
Yeah.
And then we are basically the same people. We are the demographic. So that's why we see it a little bit more now. Finally coming back, because at one point Skylines became the more desirable because they just became almost the same price. Where you were like, oh, I just have to spend $3 or $4 extra and I can buy a Skyline. Why would I buy a Honda Civic when I can spend $2,000 more and buy a Skyline?
Like a GTT or something like that, GTST.
But now things have gone back to
good luck.
Things have gone back to normal where now the Civics are worth as much as the Skylines used to be.
But the Skylines are worth twice as much.
Yeah, the Skylines are what the Integra used to be brand new. So massive difference. That's why I think Hondas are really good. And like the last episode was just K cars and why you should have really cheap cars and have fun with them rather than have one expensive car. It just makes more sense from a car enthusiast point of view. Although obviously if you don't have space to keep cars at home, that's different. But then K cars are really good for that because they're super small. They can fit literally anywhere. You can, in a one-car garage, probably fit 2 K cars. Yeah. And that's
and
just
they're
amazing.
all over Japan. They're so popular.
Yeah.
And they're used every day.
Yeah.
I guess, I don't know if this is true or not, but I would assume that the general population in Australia would be a bit larger than the general population in Japan. So the K car, for example, for my dad who's 6'5", is probably not an option.
Yes,
maybe in that instance that for that demographic it works better.
Yeah, I'm not saying it's for everyone. Yeah. But at the same time, I have friends. I have a mate who's 2 meters tall and drives a MX-5 NB.
Yeah.
And
is that Daniel?
Daniel,
With his head sticking out the top.
Yeah, literally. Yeah, like his head touches the roof.
But he still loves it.
And he loves it. Eventually modified it a little bit, so he's got hardly no sliders, anything, just like hardly a seat rail and just a bucket seat like bolted to the floor, basically, all the way back, all the way down. And he fits a lot nicer now. And his brother, who's also 2 meters tall, drives an FDRX7. And man, I struggle to fit in an FDRX7. Like my knee hits the steering wheel, my head with a helmet touches the roof. Yeah. So I don't know how he does it. Yeah,
and I've been in Tom DeCarrier's one. We went on the track, and it's got the Recaro bucket seats. Yeah, and I'm not that tall. I'm 5'9", but I've got relatively wide shoulders. I went into the seat, and I was sitting there just going, "Holy shit! Like, how would you daily this?"
Yeah, it's tight for us, let alone people who are way taller. So it's a bit crazy. I do understand. But yeah, I think we're really excited for the Japan trip. I cannot wait. Unfortunately, I still have half a semester of uni to go before the holidays. So I, as much as I want to look forward to it, I have a lot standing in my way of work, like a lot of work standing in my way. So I don't want to focus on it too much and take away from the fact that I got to actually take my time with uni and do it properly. Yeah. Rather than just try and get to the other side.
I've also found that we have so many little milestones that we're trying to achieve in between that trip for like the Civic and whatever. Yeah. And it's actually making the time go a lot slower because I'm so excited for the next track day, the next time we're working on the car, that those 2 or 3 days in between seem really, really slow. And then I look at how many days until Japan. I'm like, it's only been 3 days. Yeah. What the hell? I'm just trying to get through. And
like sometimes that's all you look forward to. Yeah. Like Mitch was really looking forward to working on the car today because that's what we planned. And then I had a uni meeting that just popped up and I forgot about and it had to be done. Yeah. Because it was for my subject. And then I was like, Mitch, we can't work on it today. And Mitch was like, what? What do you mean? And then he was like, no, I'll work all night. And I was like, you have work tomorrow, Mitch. And he's like, so? I would rather work on the car. And I was like, no, Mitch, we cannot. That's not a healthy lifestyle. And we literally had an argument over this today. And I was like, Mitch, it's just one day. We can do it later in the week. We don't have a time crunch. And you were like,
I was looking forward to it since like the Friday when you said, no, we can do, because it was originally supposed to be we're supposed to go Thursday or Friday last week. We were supposed to go.
Yeah.
And you said, hey, I've got some, family stuff, whatever I've got on. I was like, yeah, no worries. Like, I just finished the track day, so I was still a bit buzzed from the track day. It was all right. He goes, we'll do it on Monday. I was like, sweet, lock it in Monday. And then, and then it gets like Saturday. I was like, I want to work on the car so bad. It's Sunday. I was like, oh my God, it's tomorrow. This is so good. And it gets to Monday, and he's like, it's like at maybe 4 o'clock or something, or 3 o'clock, just before I was about to leave work. And he goes, oh, do you mind if we move it back? And I was like, no. I was looking forward to this for like 5 days.
Yeah. Mitch was like foaming at the mouth, like, no. I'm working on the car.
So yeah, well, then we pushed it back another 3 days. Yeah. But look, it's not that big of a deal. I just get really excited about work on it because I don't have the space to do it at home because my dad's car's in the garage. The garage is completely chocker full of stuff.
I think that's the number one problem with all car enthusiasts. It's always space. Like the amount of space a car takes, right? Like if you're a motorbike enthusiast, for example, right? You can fit like a motorbike in your single garage with a car next to it. Like,
my girlfriend's dad has 4 motorbikes in the garage, and they're all accessible, and they can easily be driven out.
Easy, yeah.
They're so good.
You just move it around. You can even work it on the street and then roll it back into the garage, right? It's not that hard.
And literally roll it too. Like, although it might be 200 or 300 kilos for the bike if it's like a tour or something, but you can still roll it.
Yeah.
It's quite hard, even if the car's 800 kilos, to roll it if it's on a slight hill, you know what I mean?
Exactly,
like, it's not as easy as a bike. Yeah.
And then if you want to move it up, like you can literally ratchet strap a bike up a hill
if you need to.
Yeah, whereas a car, like, it's a lot harder. Like, you need another car to ratchet strap it up. You can't just have one person pulling it.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah. So, space is always hard. They take a lot of space. Even go-karting is a lot easier.
Yeah.
I was talking to a few people and they were like, nah, just sell your cars and just buy go-karts and race them.
It's interesting. I've always thought about doing that because the go-karts, like you said, are way, way easier and the maintenance is so cheap.
Yeah.
Like a set of tires is like $200.
Yeah.
And if you're just taking it to the track to drive around, you're not competing and you're just doing like little track days.
Yeah.
You'll keep a set of tires for 6 months.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you'll get in a track day every month.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Or even twice a month because you can go on the weekends.
Super simple.
And a sprocket is like $15.
Yeah.
And a chain is like $20.
And readily available.
And you just go
I don't have to go to Japan. Yeah.
You don't have to go to Japan for a part for something. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah. So it's pretty good.
It's a good idea, but there's just something lacking.
Yeah.
Because most go-karts, as you would know, probably is that they're direct drive. So there's no gearing, there's no shifter, there's no clutch. You just have like a starter motor and you just roll. Yeah. And that's it. And if you want to go to like a DD2 or like a top of the range shifter kart.
Yeah.
Like a KZ1 or a KZ2, you're paying almost like 20 grand. So it's like 10 grand for the engine. Yeah. It's like almost 10 grand for the kart. Unless it's secondhand, you might get it for like 12 or something. But you could buy 3 Civics for 12 grand.
Yeah, you're paying car prices at that point.
It becomes a car then. It's like, well, what point do you swap over? Like, I want to be able to shift and use my left foot for the clutch and change gears.
Also, you can take passengers.
Yeah.
It's a lot more fun.
It's also probably a little less dangerous in a car than it is in a go-kart. If you're on a KZ1 kart and you're going 160.
That's true.
You come out and you crash and you come off. That's pretty full on. If you're going 120, 130 in a car, at least you might have some airbags. You might have some sort of roll cage or something. It's a bit easier. But, you got to weigh those things up.
Yeah.
Cost, safety, enjoyment.
Yeah. But like, in that way, if it was, I don't know, like in, what's a car that everyone does track? 86. Let's say 86. Let's say comparing an old 86 to a go-kart, you would lean towards the go-kart. It totally makes sense. The go-kart's a lot cheaper, in maintenance and in initial buying.
I picked up my first ever go-kart for $1,000.
Yeah, even if it's the crazy shifter kart, it will still be cheaper than an 86, right? And like mods for an 86. And it would be faster than an 86 too. Not having a dig at 86 owners, but most go-karts, the power to weight ratio is insane, right?
Yeah.
Whereas if you're comparing it to what we do, like with the Civic, it actually way in favor with the Civic. Like I can buy a Civic, I can buy all the mods suspension-wise that I need. You don't need to do an engine to have fun. Even you just don't need it. Like even a go-kart, you're not going extremely fast. And I think you can have just as much fun in a Civic as you can in a go-kart, even with a stock engine. So you would do suspension, and you buy a trailer, and you're pretty much done.
Like I reckon you could go Civic, like an EG or an EK or whatever.
Yeah.
trailer, all the suspension mods that I've purchased, strip out all the interior, sell it, and then do the sound deadening, whatever you want, buy a seat. You could get all that, I reckon, for between 9 and 10 grand.
Yeah, which is the same as a good shifter cart.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And then your EG is now, a good quality track car to have fun in, and you can probably, if you don't strip it all out, if you decide not to strip it out, you can probably still drive it to the track and race and drive it back, rather than trailer it to the track with a go-kart and trailer it back, or put it in the ute or whatever.
Or you can, especially with EGs, because they're old enough, you can put them on historic rego, and then that way it's $50 a year for rego and CTP, which is compulsory in New South Wales, in Australia. So basically, so $50 a year, and you can drive it to and back from the track and do whatever you like. And I don't see anyone having 60 track days a year. I think that's a bit insane. And because you can drive a car 60 times a year on historic rego. Yeah. So if it's dedicated track car, but
even 30 track days a year is a lot.
Yeah, 100%.
That's a lot.
Once a month is a lot.
I'd say 10 to 15 track days is still a lot. Yeah. Like one a month almost.
Yeah, if it's anything more than one a month, I would say that's a lot. Not many people we know that would do that.
Yeah, well, I don't know anyone that does one a month.
No,
and if you're in a race series, it's usually the race series maybe goes for a few months. Yeah. And then it stops. Yeah. And then, it might be most race 8 series, track days or whatever, but then there's no more after that for the rest of the year.
Yeah, most race series are like 8 track days, 8 rounds a year, so which is the normal amount, I would say. And then if you go and practice on top of that, so you may be squeezing in 12 a year, which is normal. But yeah.
Yeah. So I think if you're going down that path, if you want to have a car that you can drive there, definitely go for like a cheap Honda or Toyota or whatever, Yaris even, whatever. But then if you want to, I don't know, maybe also be a bit more competitive, you go the go-kart route and you have like a cheaper go-kart, but you just need to have something that can take it there. Hopefully you've got a ute, so you can chuck it in the back of the ute. You don't need a trailer.
Or even a big SUV.
Yeah, big SUV.
Yeah, you'd fit it.
Probably just take the wheels off and throw it in and then put the
I'm not including the SUV because both of them will need it. Like a car trailer will need it.
Yeah.
Well, something that can tow with, and same as a go-kart. You'll need something that can tow with it. So, yes, it is cheaper to maintain. In the long term, it'd be cheaper. But in the short term, sometimes it's more fun and cheaper to have, in our example, a Civic, which is just a lot cheaper.
And the other beneficial thing is that my dad's actually bought a brand new Isuzu D-Max. Yeah. So I never had a car that I could tow with beforehand. And this has been like an absolute revelation. Yeah. And you can just chuck everything in the boot. You can pull it closed, or in the tray, I should say, now not the boot, because it's a ute. Got to get used to the terminology. Yeah. And then just hook up the trailer, and it just drives like there's nothing attached. Yeah. I know the car's pretty light anyway. It's only like 800 or 900 kilos, but it does it easy.
Yeah, it was pretty good.
I could never do that before. Like we had to actually drive the Civic to the track or something like that, or if we wanted to do anything with it, we had to drive it. So yeah, now it's easy, and it doesn't destroy your Jeep now.
Yeah. I think all up, like it's pretty good to have a cheap car that you just thrash around. And it's also the mental thing. Like if we do throw it into a wall, it's not the end of the world.
Yeah. It feels like you're crashing a go-kart. Yeah. Thing, almost.
Yeah.
It's like I can also probably get a
sturdy.
cheap one.
Like the older the car is, usually the sturdier it is. Because they didn't care about crumple zones, and they didn't care about being light with alloy and saving costs back in the day.
Plastics everywhere. It's just metal.
Yeah, it was a lot more sturdier. So even if you do crash it into a wall, it'll be a fender, a door, and you replace it and you go back. Yeah. It's not a chassis gone unless you're doing something stupid, which you can't in a Civic anyway.
Yeah,
how fast can I possibly do?
Enough. Yeah.
Worst case scenario, bend the radiator, like support a little bit.
And then as a track car, bend it back.
Yeah, you can bend it back and just go again, and that's it. And the new bumper is like $60, which is what I said in the last episode. So it's super good.
What's interesting as well about that track day was how I got dive bombed. I didn't bring up before.
Oh yeah.
So, I guess in most cases when you're on a track, you would wait for the person sort of in front to signal with their arm. I mean, every track is a bit different. Some say use your indicator, some say whatever. But most of them say use your arm, and you point in the direction that you want the person to go. And you never overtake someone on the apex of a corner.
Yeah, 100%.
And you certainly don't do it on a standard daily driven car track day. You do it maybe in a competitive 86 racing series or something like that.
Yeah, like a
maybe.
time trial event or regularity. Like that's different, but this was just an average.
And when people take their dailies to these sorts of events, like that's usually their only car.
Yeah.
So if they crash it, then it's a massive impact to them. And I was coming down onto one of the corners, turning right, and I put these fake Ganador mirrors on the EG.
Yeah.
Worst thing I've ever done. You can't see anything, right?
Yeah.
You can see a little bit out of the right one. You can see like a light in the top left corner of the left one. And I saw in my rearview mirror the 86 behind me would have been maybe 30, 40 meters behind me. And I've gone wide to hit a late apex, and this white 86 has just come shooting down the inside and overcooked the turn as well. So he's come quite wide. Yeah. And I see him just as I'm about to turn in, have to turn back the other way.
Yeah.
And, just like not expecting at all for someone to dive bomb you on a track day, especially at Eastern Creek of all things. Just completely undertook, then took off. And I wasn't going fast enough to really sort of crash or anything, but it really put me off my line, had to swerve back in. Then I was like, kind of lost my bearings. I was like, crap, I almost had a crash. Yeah. Where am I? Where are the other cars? Is there more coming? And then he actually came around to our pit garage and apologized, which is, I really appreciate that. But I just said to him, like, you shouldn't really be undertaking people through the middle of a corner.
I think it was his
on a
first track day as well.
Yeah.
And he had a brand new GR86.
Yeah, that's a $55,000 car.
Yeah, compared to our like $5,000 car.
If you break that, I go home and fix my EG and don't register it ever again and keep racing with it. And you now have a written off $55,000 car. Like,
literally brand new. Like they only started getting delivered like end of last year, start of this year. So it's insane. At least he did apologize, and I hope he learned his lesson and he's never going to do that again. But yeah, Eastern Creek, I didn't even have to signal people to overtake me. It was just every single time there was a straight, someone would just
which is what I was expecting.
Walk past me.
Wait for the corner and then just pass me on the straight. No worries.
Yeah.
No sweat. But to be undertaken on a corner, I've never been dive bombed before like that. Maybe in go-karting, but never in a car.
Never at a track day. No.
Yeah, never at a track day. Yeah.
I just found that insane. We were all scared. Like we were spectating from a rooftop.
Yeah, pretty much everyone saw it as well,
we
which
were
is
just
the
like,
funny thing.
my God, what is that guy doing?
Yeah, there's a photo of it as well.
Yeah,
which is
there's
really
a
funny.
full photo of before the dive bomb, during the dive bomb, and after the dive bomb. It was so funny. And you just
see my car go, ah.
Yeah. So that photographer was really ready for a crash, I think. Like he was
preempted it.
All ready for a crash, and he was like, I will take every single action shot of this car crash.
Just burst mode, got like 20 photos and say, they didn't crash.
Yeah. And thankfully nothing happened. Thankfully you saw it like last second. We saw you turn in, look at, and like
looking for the
so
apex,
close, and you were like, whoa, and turned out
look for the apex and see a wheel and go, that shouldn't be there. What the hell?
Yeah, and you can there's so much expressions, like literally like facial expressions of the Civic, because you can see it because it tilts so much. The slightest like steering input and the whole car will tilt the other way or the other way. So you can tell what input and what throttle you're putting in just based on how much the car's moving around on the track.
And then you just see the car look like it's been hit by a wave and goes this way and then this way and then this way again.
Like every single panic you had there, like we could see it.
So visible.
So visibly see it. Yeah.
I just felt, just in all sorts, just was not expecting it and just scared the crap out of me. I was really frightened because that would have been my first ever incident on a track. Yeah. And I've been driving on the track for 5 or 6 years now.
Well, I hope we never have an incident on track. Yeah. Like it's definitely scary.
Yeah. I've spun out before. That was less scary.
I have spun out, many times as you've seen.
Yeah.
But yeah, I never thought I'd spin out in a Civic.
Yeah, understeery Civic.
Yeah.
Well, ours isn't understeery, but you would expect a Civic to be a little bit understeery.
At that point, I would rather it understeer. I know I usually always say like I'd rather the car oversteer or whatever, but
definitely not in this case.
Not in this case. This was just too sketchy to oversteer. Yeah. I would definitely rather it understeer a little bit than oversteer a lot a bit.
Yeah. I'm frustrated that I brought my GoPro down, but it's just an old battery and a slightly older GoPro, and it just said it was out of battery. And I wish I'd had like video of that whole experience.
I'll have the GoPro
as well.
set up for London. So the next track day we'll have the full GoPro setup.
Yeah.
I just didn't bother with this one because I was like, it's at nighttime. I didn't like GoPro.
Maybe you won't be able to see as much with the light glaring.
Yeah, GoPro night visibility is really shocking. So, like, you would have seen the track a little bit, but you wouldn't have seen like your incidents or anything. So then it just becomes boring footage. Of just light after light after light. You won't be able to know when you're braking or anything. Yeah. So I just didn't bring it. I was like, I don't think it's worth it too much, but definitely next time, because next time's during the day, so it'll be a lot easier to see and a lot fun.
And I love the fact that now that I'm working full time, I can take an annual leave day and go to a track day.
Yes,
like and get paid. Like what the hell?
Yeah, so
I never used to be able to do that. Yeah, that's just ridiculous.
Yeah, like you'll get paid for a little bit of the Japan holiday, which is
I'm hoping all of it.
Amazing.
Hoping I get because I've been there for a year now, so I should have just under a year full time. So I should have more than 2 weeks saved up by then. So
I gotta save up.
Yeah,
so much before I go. Yeah, I have no choice. But oh well. Like
we took the dodgy flights as well, so we got a 13-hour layover in Cairns.
Yeah, I can't believe that.
So it was a lot cheaper, which works for us, and we're okay with it. But
and it's during the night too. That's the annoying bit.
Yeah,
because you're in Cairns overnight. Yeah,
and then we leave at like 11 o'clock the next morning.
I guess just pay. Like I think it's like $50 or $40 for the lounge. Pay for the lounge and just have a snooze.
Yeah, and just snooze there for sure.
Yeah, that's probably
because we were looking at all these places to stay just locally around the airport. There's nothing directly in the airport at Cairns that you can stay at, and all the other ones are okay, but they're like $100 a night. Yeah. And it's like, well, what's the point of doing that when we both have to pay, and then all of a sudden like the money that we saved on the plane trip is not as much. Then what's the point? So we'll just sleep in the airport.
And like for 13 hours, it's not worth too much. Yeah,
and also. Taxi
there,
taxi back, Uber, whatever it is, and more money. So, but we got returned to Japan for $1,200, which I think in the time frame that we're booking, it's so short beforehand that it was not too bad.
Me being the broke person actually went the other way. Like my partner and I chose a non-stop flight there, so we paid a lot more.
But at least you get there in the single day, and then.
Yeah, I know. I keep telling myself that.
Yeah.
But it was very expensive. But that's like that extra money was like our entire accommodation cost, for example. But nonetheless, I think if anything, I would like to go like broke on and splurge on is Japan. So I'm super excited.
Of course.
I'm super excited to go to Japan. I've been wanting to go for way too long and just haven't had the chance. So this is perfect.
Yeah. Like, I would never regretted spending a bit more money to fly there, and, it doesn't really bother me, but I'm just a little bit of a cheapskate with some things. So, I like, if someone says you have to sleep for 13 hours in Cairns, I'll be like, whatever. I just save like $1,000. Like, that's worth it. No worries.
Super fun. Yeah. Super glad. I will take, obviously, my camera, and I'm making like a shopping list in my head of all the stuff I want. And
to buy over there or to do?
To buy over there as well. Like a lot of things that are obviously Japanese made will be cheaper in Japan. So we might be able to get a new camera if it's a good deal.
True.
There's a few things that we might be able to get.
Jamie and I might just get one of those like portable ones, like the little not portable Polaroid.
Nuki's taking a Polaroid. Yeah, so we will be. We have a Polaroid anyway, so it'll be super good. Yeah, super keen.
Yeah.
So I think if you guys just buy film, then we can just share the one camera. Yeah. It's the same thing.
Yeah, for
and,
sure.
The only thing I have to figure out is if you and I want to do different adventures to the girls, then...
That's a good thing, right? It's I think that's the one benefit of going almost as like a couple's trip.
Yeah.
Is that my girlfriend, your girlfriend get along really well.
Yeah.
And so if, for example, we want to go see like a one-piece exhibition or whatever... We can do that, and the girls can go, well, we're going to go over here.
Yeah.
And it's not leaving anyone alone. Like they're still with a friend or whatever. And I think that's a really massive benefit of going together.
100%.
Because although I've tried my hardest to get Jamie into some sort of anime and watching this, like she started watching Dragon Ball with me the other day, which is really cool. And she's actually asking to put more episodes on. And because it reminds her of like kids' cartoons, and she's a primary school teacher, she sort of has some relatability to it. But she doesn't like watching lots of anime, and I do, and I like Pokemon, lots of stuff. So when I go there, I want to go and do those things. I know she won't want to, and if your girlfriend doesn't want to do that either, then they can go and do something way more enjoyable.
I'm just going through all of One Piece, like trying to watch all of One Piece, and I've just like, I can understand sometimes like the anime pacing is a little bit slow. Like I think the last 50 episodes and like in the actual anime, only 2 hours have passed. So it's like not much has happened at all.
But that's also how One Piece has been written a little bit as well. It's a little bit slower than some of the other ones.
A little bit slower. Hence the over 1,000 episodes. Which is, I took on the challenge, so I will complete the challenge.
I don't think I'll get up high enough.
To date. I don't think I'll be up to date by Japan. No way. But that's all right. It is what it is. I know what shirts I'm going to pack as well. I've got like a Dragon Ball Z shirt. I've got like a Pikachu shirt. Well, you should just buy
a Snorlax shirt that says like not today and all that sort of stuff. Like, part
of me was like, I kind of want to take clothes that I want to throw away so I can buy new clothes there and just throw my own clothes away.
That's really smart.
Yeah.
I didn't think about that.
Anything that I don't fit into like perfectly, like anything that I need to throw away, maybe I wear
that's
those.
So smart. I didn't even think about that.
And then I'll just throw them away there and buy new clothes there because
so I can just wear all the crap that I was going to throw to Vinny's anyway.
Yeah.
And just, I don't know what I'll do with it there. Just leave it in the
They have charity.
I don't know.
Surely they have charity bins too.
Yeah.
Charities are worldwide, I would say.
I
hope so.
That's so true. And then I can just pack all the stuff that I buy. Oh, Siraj, what the hell?
Yeah.
That's clever.
See?
Yeah. See, I wouldn't have thought about that. I would have gone there and then try to pack in extra shirts and my 7 kilos would have
I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. Like I don't have that much money to spend.
I'll just go there with like one shirt.
But in my head, I have plans to spend a lot of money that I don't have. So I don't know what's going to happen. But I think that's that for this week. And thank you very much for listening.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thank you for coming on.
Appreciate it.
We started off with a lot of nerd talk and then we got a little bit more excited
travel
about Japan.
Talk.
Travel talk, which is cool.
Let's start with a nerd talk.
A travel talk is good because I think I'm going to be excited about this for however many episodes are coming out between now and we go to Japan. So you're going to hear it a lot.
I'm going to be excited to watch this back and see what came to fruition. Like we're talking about the Civic, we're talking about the trip and what we've done.
That's
Can't
true.
wait to do like a recap thing. So we just came back and I lost all my shirts, but I've got all these new ones.
That's true, actually. Stay tuned for that. That'll be end of July. And I'm super keen. So thank you all for listening. Follow us on Instagram, which is the Automotive Society _. You can give us an email with any photos or any questions that you have, which is theautomotivesociety@outlook.com. And enjoy. We'll see you next time.
See you later.